Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to Melanie Loves Death Metal. Got a different video for you guys today. No collection update, no album rankings, no reviews, none of that bullshit today. I did something a little bit different, something that people have been requesting these last couple of months, which I was kind of surprised about. I wasn't expecting people to actually want me to record a video like this, but here I am. I asked on my community post a couple days ago, like a day ago, I should say, someone wants me to do a Q&A video, a couple people, I should say, not just one person. So ask me questions and maybe I'll do a live stream. Well, I'm not doing a live stream because I don't have the time to do a live stream. I'm recording this on my lunch break for work. So maybe someday I'll do a live stream. If people actually want me to live stream and you'll actually watch it, let me know. And I'll give you pre-warning so people actually join it. So I got 9 questions. Actually, I think I got like 10 on this post. And I also asked on Instagram. So I'm a lot more interactive on Instagram. I've got a bigger following there, so more people message me things and more people send me questions over there. I think most of my questioning in regards to my YouTube channel goes to my Instagram because they know that I'm so interactive there. But the hope is that my YouTube channel will eventually get to be that way. More people will continue to ask questions on videos, and maybe I can make these Q&A things a regular thing, maybe a monthly thing, a monthly fireside chat with Melanie Loves Death Metal. Maybe that's what I'll call this, and I'll put a nice fake fire going on my work laptop back there. So I'll answer the questions from the YouTube comments that were put into that community post. By the way, these community posts are similar to like Facebook, where I can just make statuses and stuff like that and polls, and you guys can interact on that. So look at them and respond to them. And yeah, so I'll do that for this video. I think I have enough to make a long enough video, and then I'll take the Instagram questions that I got yesterday, which I got about 30 of them, so there's a lot to sift through there, and then I'll make a second part of this, and it'll probably go up tomorrow or Friday or something. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll put up the questions up somewhere. I'll edit them in so that way you can actually read them and see if it was your question that I answered, which I'm answering all of the questions today, so your question will be answered if you responded to this. So the first question that I have is from UK Death and Black Metal. Hey Mel, if you could travel back in time to the mid-90s and put together a show, who would headline and who would be the support bands? 3 support bands. Also, what venue would it be held at? So I've actually thought about this quite a bit. Fucking phones making noise. Thought about this quite a bit. Death would be the headliner because favorite death metal band, clearly. I've made that known a lot here on this channel. And 3 supporting bands, pretty simple there. It would be Nunslaughter, 1000%. They were pretty much just getting started in the 90s. I think they've only had a couple demos out at the time, but those demos are very good. And I just bought a lot of them recently, so I'm waiting for them to come in. They started making these compilation CDs of all of the older EPs and split music that Nunslaughter, because they have about 1,000 of them out there, and it's impossible to try and collect them all. So they started making these compilation CDs. I think there's about 4 of them now, and I just started snagging them because Nunslaughter is one of my favorite death metal bands. And I want to talk about them more on this channel. I have not talked about them ever, surprisingly. So Nunslaughter would definitely be one of the supporting bands with Death. Autopsy, which is funny because Autopsy is huge, and they would have their own headliner. And then 1000% would probably do somebody a little bit more, not as big. Oh, that's actually for a third pick. Let's see here. I want to say Morbid Angel, but again, that's like so cliche. Like Morbid Angel is, again, another iconic death metal band. Yeah, we'll just go with Morbid Angel. We'll just do that. Yeah, those are pretty much all of my favorite death metal bands. So I'm very basic when it comes to death metal. I'm a basic death metal bitch. So, and as for the venue would be held at, I don't know. I'm not a venue snob. I mean, I go to so many concerts that are held in bars in these little tiny ass shitholes. I don't really go to a whole lot of stadium or big venues. So for a concert lineup like this, I guess I would pick the United Center in Chicago just because I'm from Chicago and I know that it's a fun place to go for concerts. I've been there several times. I don't know, maybe if I had a big festival, I would definitely do it, on a festival grounds and shit, but that's not what this is. So anyway, thanks for the question. That was a good one. So the next question I got is, hey Melanie, I'm a newbie. Welcome to the channel, and I'm really digging what you are doing on here. Well, thank you. And your social media platforms. I was wondering if you have come up against any misogynistic crap during your time doing all this, or if you have found guys in the metal scene supportive. I would say it's been way more supportive, and as far as the misogynistic crap, yes. I've had it happen to me quite a few times since I started doing this. I won't call out names or anything like that, but I've had a couple of bands and labels who have judged me based on the fact that I'm a woman and have kind of just been like, nah, hard pass on that, and then have come back to me later to discuss some sort of a collaboration of a giveaway or a video of some sort after realizing that I have a little bit of a small following that may get them a little bit more recognition. And I respectfully told them to fuck off in a very nice way. Yes, the misogynistic thing is definitely a thing on here. For whatever reason, me being a woman that loves death metal, there are some guys on here that have their nuts all shriveled up in a tiny Ziploc bag and they don't like it. And so they've made really shitty comments to me about it. They've accused me of being a poser, all this other stupid shit. So yes, but that is very minimal. The support is way more. I will say I've met some really fantastic people since I've started doing this, including bands and labels, but mostly I have a pretty awesome YouTube community that has rallied behind me and has given me a lot of support this last year that I've started doing this. And I'll call them out. Ben from Brain Smasher, Marty from the Marty Worm channel, Alan from Let's Talk Metal, Simon from Explosive Action, Mike from Seatown. He's Mike Seatown, I should say. He's given me a lot of support. Thralls of Metal, those guys have given me support. I know I'm missing some, like even Metal Meltdown, Metal Trenches, like all those bigger metal YouTubers have really given me a good support. And then I have a little bit of a smaller support in terms of the guitar community. Stay Metal Ray is he's a great guy, and I really love his YouTube channel. He puts out awesome guitar covers, and he just recently went through some bullshit, so he's a good guy on here. There's a lot of great support that I've gotten from the YouTube community. So Liam from the Death Doom Metalhead is another one. Mark G with the C. I'm thinking of names. The list is incredibly long. So thank you guys if you're watching these. I've appreciated all of your support. I love all your channels, and I need to do a YouTube video. Ken, Jesus Christ, can't believe it. For Ken from Ken's Death Metal Crypt. And then there's been the bands that have been absolutely incredible to me. Coffin Mulch is definitely one of them. Those guys are awesome. Worm, Phantom Slaughter has been very supportive of me. Mark Riddick is another one that has been. And then bands like Puke Wraith, Brendan from behind that, Ryan Gurgling Gore has been awesome, James from Transylvanian Recordings, Scott and those guys from Maggot Stomp, all these guys have been amazing. Eric from Life After Death, everybody's been really supportive. They share my stuff, they shout me out, they do all these things, and I really appreciate it. So, and then aside from the bands and labels aspect of it, I've also gotten to have a great group of friends now. I've made a lot of good friends that I talk to on a daily basis. I'm in group chats with them, and we talk metal music all day long, and sometimes anal sex. Shit happens, It's a group of guys. They're just a bunch of fucking weirdos. And I'm the only woman in the chat. And it's been a great time. So yes, the support system is way more than the bullshit that I've gotten in the past. I haven't gotten it lately, thankfully. I think some people maybe have realized I'm gonna just whatever. For the most part, it's just I ignore them. But if it's something that I feel I want to be sarcastic about, I'll shoot a message back to and tell them to politely fuck off. So thanks again for the question. Moving on, what album got you into metal, and what's your favorite pop mainstream artist from the 21st century, if any? So album that got me into metal is by far Tool's Enema. I know you guys hate Tool, whatever, but that was really the first metal sounding record that I ever heard. I think I was 8 or 9 years old. My older brother, who's quite a bit older than I am, is a metalhead. He would play it all the time in his car, in his room, and then followed up by Pantera's Cowboys from Hell. Those were the two albums that really got me started into metal. From there, it segued into death. and Autopsy, and even Biohazard. Like, fuck, I used to love Biohazard too. And then thrash metal, you know, Metallica, Anthrax, all that shit. So that's definitely, those two albums were the segue. As far as a pop mainstream artist, I don't listen to a whole lot of pop music. I think you guys can probably assume that. I do like some of it. I will admit I do listen to a lot of different types of music that is not just metal music or death metal as a whole, but it's very few and far between lately. I would say, I guess she's considered a pop mainstream artist, and that is Brandi Carlile. So she has won Grammys and stuff like that. She's more of like a folk singer slash a little bit of country in there, mostly folk though. I've seen her in concert. She's fucking incredible live. She has an amazing voice. She has a great back supporting band is what I want to say. And she's great. She's amazing. Just check her out if you're into that kind of music. I really like folk music. I really like that style of music. So and when I'm in the mood, I listen to it. So I think that would be considered, I guess she's considered pop. I don't know. And yeah, that's about it. Otherwise, I probably couldn't name anybody right now. Couldn't name a soul. I don't listen to it hardly ever. I don't even know like what the top artists are right now. But it sure as fuck isn't Taylor Swift. I do not like Taylor Swift. All right. So have you ever considered starting a label? Maybe a natural evolution from the distro. So starting a label definitely would be a dream come true for me. I'll be honest with you. I think it would be fun. However, I think the death metal scene is really saturated with a lot of underground labels right now. So that scares me a little to actually try and do it. Plus, I don't really have the money to invest in it at the moment, or the time. So maybe someday if I get some sort of a partnership in place, somebody comes to me and says, hey, let's release this album on your, or whatever. I don't know how that shit starts, but maybe someday. But for now, distro, it's a hobby. It's not really a way of making money, because I'm not making money from it. It's just a hobby, just trying to, you know, build a base, and maybe we'll see it someday. All right, so the next question is, I'm new to your channel. Welcome. How did you get into black metal? Did you listen to emo or nu metal beforehand? Which bands would you recommend as an introduction to black metal? From London. And then they also said, I love your tattoos. Any chance of you making a tattoo video? So there's two questions, well, like 3 or 4 questions here. How did I get into black metal? So black metal is something that I have always known what it is, and I've listened to bands without ever really realizing that they were considered black metal. I would say Behemoth is probably what got me into black metal. They were really the first black metal band that I ever started to explore, I guess you could say, and get into and not be scared of, because it was intimidating, not just the fact that it was, you know, satanic or anything like that, because obviously I don't give a shit about that. It was just, you know, the whole gimmick was a little bit weird to me, aside from the fact that Merciful Fate and King Diamond are definitely probably one of the segues that got me into listening to Behemoth, because of the corpse paint, and I wanted more bands like that. But the sound was different for me and it was different for me to get used to. So I'd say Behemoth that got me into it. And as far as black metal bands to get started into, I am not a good person to ask for that. I started with Behemoth and Emperor and Darkthrone and Mayhem, like the very basic, and then Bathory is really what probably got me going there. I started listening to Bathory, and then I was hooked on black metal after that. And then as the years have gone by, and I've actually tried to get more deep into black metal, I really got heavily into atmospheric black metal. And I love bands, you know, like Caladan Brood has one of the most amazing records ever put out. I wish they would make a new record someday. And I love, you know, all that atmospheric shit like Soar and stuff like that. So I would say one suggestion is, if you're interested in getting into black metal and you want to go into a journey that's a noob black metal, I'm definitely that person. Maybe watch my Black Metal Monday videos and see what I talk about on there, and go and listen to them on Bandcamp and see the stuff that you like. That's probably my best response. Shameless plug. Anyway, and then the second question was, do I listen to emo, or did I ever listen to emo and nu metal? Yeah. In high school, I went through a phase. I always listened to death metal. That was always the genre. It was there. But I had a lot of friends that were into the emo pop punk stuff, and they went to Warped Tour, and I joined along because, high school, wanted to be with my friends. So I definitely was into the emo stuff, the new emo pop punky shit like New Found Glory, shit like that. Dashboard Confessional, I think, was the other one. I did like bands like Thrice and stuff like that. I don't listen to that stuff anymore at all. No interest whatsoever. I listen to it now. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And as far as new metal, I definitely was into new metal. I didn't wear the Jinko jeans or anything like that, but obviously Slipknot's one of my favorite bands still to this day. I don't have a hard time admitting that. But I listened to Slipknot, I guess, and what were the other new metal bands, like Orgy and stuff like that? I guess I probably had those records. I mean, it was just pretty much what my friends were listening to in high school, I listened to as well, but I was also that outsider that listened to bands that they were like, this is too much for me. Like, Death was definitely one of those, which I thought was funny. Autopsy and Sepultura and Pantera, like that stuff they struggled with, and then there was me. And then as far as my tattoos, I probably won't make a video on my tattoos. I mean, maybe if you really want me to. Yeah, so I have a half sleeve going here. I still need to finish it. I still need to connect the back part of my upper arm and my elbow area. But this is about 3 or 4 years of tattoos that I've been working on. They're very expensive. So up here is a sugar skull with gladiolas, flowers, and then inside the sugar skull is a brain cancer ribbon. So story about this, my best friend passed away due to brain cancer about 6 years ago. Actually, it was 6 years ago, and she was really into sugar skulls. She collected them and loved the meaning behind them. So I got a sugar skull to commemorate her with the brain cancer ribbon in there. And then 3 weeks 3 weeks before she died, so 3 weeks before, my first son, my oldest son, was born, and this was in August, and his birth flower are gladiolas. So 3 weeks apart, he was born, and then she passed away. So it was a really big, shitty time of my life, unfortunately. Something amazing, and then something awful happened. So I got a tattoo to commemorate both of those events. And then down here is a red cardinal right there. I call him Cardinal George. If you were raised Catholic, you understand what that means. I'm not Catholic anymore, but I was raised Catholic, with carnation flowers. So the carnation flowers are my second son's birth flower, and then the cardinal is to commemorate the people that have passed in my life. So there's some symbolism around it where if you see a cardinal out in the wild, it's a loved one coming down from heaven and saying hello to you. I'm not a religious person whatsoever. I'm fairly agnostic for the most part. And I just really liked that symbolism. It's just like a comforting fact. I've had a lot of people pass away in my life these last several years, unfortunately. So it was just a commemorative, and I'm also a huge wildlife advocate. I love birds and I love wildlife, and the cardinals is one of my favorite birds. So I figured that was a good thing to put in there. And then on this arm is a peony. It is from a print that my aunt had on a piece of fabric. She is like a professional quilter, and I used to live with her and my uncle, who, when I was back in college, I pretty much lived in their basement while I was in school, and I wanted to start getting tattoos, but I didn't want to get things that would make my parents upset. So I chose this because it was this Japanese like print that she had that I really loved, and I'm a huge nerd when it comes to that stuff. So I got it pretty much tattooed on me because that was probably 3 of the best years of my life that I lived with them. I was really close with them, so I got that on here too. And then I have another tattoo on my back. It is a Fender Telecaster, because yeah, we'll talk about that in the next question. So yeah, thanks. That's my video on my tattoos. And I do plan on getting this finished. I need to schedule time. It takes a while and it's expensive. All right, the next question is from Alec. Nice. What's up, guys? Alec was on my channel a couple weeks ago. I premiered a couple of songs from their last release, so you should go check that out. They ask, you've mentioned that you play guitar. Any chance we get to hear some jams? Probably not. I'm a little bit shy in playing in front of people. Maybe someday, if I ever get around to being motivated enough. I will maybe record a cover of some sort and put it on here as like a short clip or something. But I am very unmotivated to play guitar right now. I have not picked up my guitar in about 6 months. I go in waves, but I've been playing since I was 13 years old. And I used to play for school in my school band and stuff like that, and I did competitions, and I guess I'm okay, I don't know, but never felt like I was good enough to make a band or write music, and I never really tried. I just always played it as a hobby. So maybe someday I'll do a video, because lately I've been listening to music and being like, oh, that would be a cool video to make. I think that would be fun. So maybe someday we'll get there. I've got to get the stuff to plug my guitar into my computer and shit. Again, money that I don't want to spend. All right, so the next question is, what are your favorite British, German, French, South American, Australian, and Japanese death metal bands? Well, shit, I should have read this before I started recording, because I'm not going to be able to name off bands off the top of my head now. Okay, so it doesn't state from old or new, so I'll list off some new ones that I absolutely know I can list off the top of my head. So in terms of the UK, Coffin Walsh is definitely one of my favorites right now. South American, I mean, outside of Sepultura, obviously, Sarcophago is a good one. Japanese death metal bands, definitely Anatomia and Pharmacist. Australian, probably Pestilence right now has been one that I've listened to quite a bit, although I know I'm not thinking of a band right now. I'm totally blanking on a band from Australia that I want to shout out. And then German, again, shit. What are German death metal bands? I know it's like right there. I'm so bad about origin of where they're from. Aside from Creator, which is, thrash metal. I need to think about that one. I'll respond to you on the post when I actually think of a band in mind. Okay, and so the final question is favorite animes in video games. What kind of video games do you like? RPG, FPS, fighting, etc. Okay, so I kind of knew this was going to come up. I was waiting for it. Somebody did call out in a video a couple weeks ago because they noticed in the video that I had these in the background. And they called it out. So, and I just realized, 1 minute, let me check. Alright. Okay, anyway, just making sure that wasn't an important text and something wasn't blowing up. So yeah, they saw that in the background of the video and they called it out. Yes, I am an anime nerd. I watch a lot of anime. I currently have a Naruto shirt on. I don't know if you've noticed that. So some of my favorite animes are obviously My Hero Academia, Naruto, Bleach, the basic ones, Attack on Titan recently, Dragon Ball Z, obviously. I used to love Tenchi Muyo. I also just watched Tokyo Ghoul. I really liked that. Death Note, obviously, is another great one. So right now, I'm really hooked on My Hero. I've been trying to catch up to all of that, and then I just caught up to Attack on Titan. That's amazing. So yeah, those are probably some of my favorite animes. I'm blanking. And then as far as video games, yes, I am a very big video game nerd. So my whole system set up here, which somebody asked me to do a room tour, maybe someday I'll do that. I have a gaming PC that I'm currently recording on, so I can't show it to you. But I also have in here my Nintendo Switch that I play quite a bit. I also have an Xbox One. And then out in my living room, I have a PlayStation 4 that my son plays on all the time, so that's why it's out there. So yes, I'm a huge gamer. I love playing video games. It's something that I've always done since a very young age. I prefer Nintendo platforms. I'm a big Nintendo nerd. I love all the Mario games. I love Zelda. I love Pokemon. I love all of those games, including now that they've bought the rights of like the Sonic games of like Sega and stuff like that, from Sega, I should say. I've always been into that, but in terms of the bigger name games, Call of Duty has always been one of my favorites, with the exception of these last like 2 years. I've found them to be absolute garbage. And then I do like Fortnite. The no build mode is a lot of fun, and I've been really enjoying that. Valorant is another one that I got hooked on, and I still play quite frequently. I also used to play League of Legends a lot. And then what was the other one? It was just there. Counter-Strike, CS:GO. I played that a lot. So I do prefer the shooter games. But now that my sons are old enough to know what video games are, I've been trying to not put those in their hands yet, like especially Grand Theft Auto, and I've been playing a lot of Smash Brothers with them, a lot of Mario. Super Mario 3D World is so much fun. You should play that game if you never played it. Luigi's Mansion is another great video game that we really enjoyed. So I've been trying to, indoctrinate them into the video game atmosphere. I've been playing a lot of those. The Kirby game is a lot of fun. That just came out recently. So yeah. I'm a huge gaming nerd, so, and I don't really play online with people a whole lot. I've considered maybe starting like a streaming thing where I play with friends, if people are actually interested in that, or maybe creating another channel where I do stuff like that, because I am very up with all the video game stuff. I do watch a lot of streamers that play video games. That is pretty much what I watch when I'm working all day. I have just, several screens, and one screen, I usually have some sort of a streamer on playing a game, and I really am entertained by that, and I like watching it, so I'm a huge nerd. That is the moral of this Q&A today, is that I am a huge fucking nerd. So that's all that I have for today. If you guys liked this video, if you want it to be a monthly thing, let me know. Comment below your questions that you might have. And again, I'll make a part 2 of the Instagram questions that I got, because I got some good ones over there and some really ridiculous ones, and I think they'd be funny to read off on screen. So thank you guys for all the support, and once again, let me know if you like this. And I actually looked into my analytics for the first time ever on my page. I don't ever do that, and most of my traffic is people who are not subscribed. So maybe you should subscribe to me too. Alright, so thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one.